Steven and Jake. I am Jacob Steiner. Starting off the day with us is the best way to start off the morning and wake up every Friday with us. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Jacob Steiner to get all your news on sports, but to get some news on sports and ask me some questions that you would want to get answered inside the show or off of it. And also you can follow my boy Steven here at Aggie1914.
Do it.
So we have some birthdays today to get through. A wonderful pitcher back in the day, the old Cy Young in 1867. Long time ago, but he was he has the most wins by a pitcher played most of his career with the Cleveland Spiders and had a total of 511 wins for his career. He also has the Pitcher of the Year award named after him, so a big props out to Cy Young. Rest in peace, and great dude. Next birthday, Walt. I'm so sorry, Steven. You heard that, didn't you? Walt Clyde Frazier, Mr. Cool, NBA guard for the New York Knicks prominently. He averaged 18.9 points per game, and he is also in the Hall of Fame. He will be 73 today, so happy birthday out to Walt Clyde Frazier, Mr. Cool. And that's it for the birthdays today. So we get into the first big question of the day, which is which sport is greatest to watch nowadays and why? Why is it the greatest to watch, Steven? I'll let you go first.
Oh man, it's a tough one. I mean, obviously, my first pick would be football. I think football just nowadays, especially college football. NFL has its moments, but college football, just the love of the game and the passion behind the fans, the players, everyone in the organization. I just think college football is America's pastime. I mean, I just think that in today's world, you know, football is what brings people together, just like baseball does so many years ago. So that'd be my number one spot. Number two, I'd probably pick hockey. Hockey is a weird sport that everyone loves. You know, you skate around on razor blades and you shoot a puck into a net, and people love it. I love it. I loved when I played it. I loved everything about it. So I think a fast-paced game that has the ability to fight. I mean, I know that's kind of like a rookie stereotypical thing about NHL, but it's the fighting, the intensity, the hits, the crowd. I mean, if anybody's ever been fortunate enough to go to an actual hockey game, the crowd is intense. You're packed in there. So I think hockey right now would be number two. Number three, probably a basketball game. As much as I don't like saying it, I mean, basketball's never really been my forte, but a well high-end basketball game. I haven't been to many, but the Rockets and Suns or something last time I went.
No.
To a Rockets game, it was fun. It was like I said. I think a lot of the, I guess, overall appeal to a sport is how the fans and how the crowds react. If you're at home or if you're at the game, and I think the basketball has that. Next, I'd probably say baseball. Being the former America's pastime, I'd say baseball. And then five is a tough one. I mean, you gotta think of all the other different sports now.
Rugby,
yeah, but we don't do any rugby this side of the pond. So yeah, like, you know, rugby, cricket, all those. I'd probably say fifth in terms of sports to watch. I don't know, is NASCAR a sport?
It could be.
That's maybe NASCAR. I mean, let's think of the other one. There's 10. As a boxing, I guess I'd rather watch a boxing game or a UFC game. I guess it is. Or the UFC match. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Number 5 would be any type of fighting, boxing, UFC. Conor McGregor retired past weekend or past week, and you know, people kind of still rallying behind that, wondering if that's a real thing or wondering if that's just a little hoax by him. But yeah, UFC boxing match probably would be number 5.
That's a pretty good list. But my top five is going to be very, very different. Obviously, I got basketball number one. Huge basketball fan, been for a while. I've been to a lot more games probably than you have. And, I love the crowd and everyone that gets into it, especially college basketball. Number two, I'm going to go with football, mostly because of college football, because those fans get behind, their team more than anyone. You go to a winning program like Alabama or Oklahoma and you wear the opposing team shirt, you're going to get chewed out of that stadium. Number three, even though it's slow, I pick baseball. When you go to the game, yes, it's much better than when you watch it on TV. That's because you're sitting in a more probably comfortable chair. You're able to fall asleep more than sitting in those, plastic. Are they plastic
Stadium
or more metal?
It depends on where you're going. It depends on what stadium you're at. Like, got Minute Maid's got plastic.
We'll just go crappy chairs. We'll just put it out there. Just crappy
chairs.
They're not comfortable. The stadium.
They're uncomfortable.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why they sell you the beer, so you just get more comfortable.
Those beers are expensive. But that's not the point. Baseball at number three because I still have love for the game. Every pitch to me is, most important. And then number four, I would include hockey, just because the hits and the pucks shooting from every last little angle is just so much fun to watch. We watched some last night. It was beautiful. I would do it any day of the year. Number five, I would probably. I don't want to choose soccer, but I might have to because when they get to the goal, soccer is pretty fun. Soccer is, it's like pretty fun sport when they get to the goal, but most times they don't, and that's why I have a huge problem with soccer. Sometimes is that they don't, and most of the games spin in the middle of the field, and that's why I have a huge problem with soccer, and a lot of people don't get that. Soccer is just a boring sport when they're all just circled in the middle.
I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. The reason I picked soccer as my fifth is because the only time I actually watched
soccer as your fifth.
Actually, I didn't. The only reason I didn't pick that is because, like you said, soccer to me is. I played it a long time ago, but
So
even then it was still kind of. I played keeper, but it
so
still
did I.
it's still just kind of dredged on. And then you had the moments where they were in the box, they leading in charge, and your blood started pumping. The reason I didn't put that in my fifth is because I think, like I said, it's just a boring sport. Like you said, it's a boring sport. And honestly, the only time I really watch soccer is World Cup. World Cup games, like if this was during World Cup time, I'd put soccer as my fifth because I love watching World Cup games because of the audience, because of the cheering, because of the overall camaraderie that brings to the nation. Even the United States, who don't do that well, they still, you still see it everywhere you go when the World Cup's on. World Cup this, World Cup that. Cheer for this, cheer for that.
We do the. I believe we will.
Right. All that stuff. That stuff, So if we were in a World Cup time, I would have picked soccer number five. But because we're not, I'm still going with the UFC boxing. But I understand where you're coming with the soccer.
Do you have a problem with me picking baseball three? I know we talked about this.
Like I said, it was a long tough pick between baseball and basketball. I think basketball just has a little bit for me higher appeal. I play baseball, and I'd very much rather play it.
You said the other day that you would rather watch a PGA tournament, a golf tournament, rather than watch a baseball game.
Yeah, that's what I said. Okay, in exaggeration, yeah, PGA, but there are some intense moments in the PGA tournament. But I think baseball nowadays, I feel it's become so overhyped, and we've lost the love for the game. I think the true hard fans still love that game, but I think a lot of it is overshadowed by the deals and the contracts. And I know that sounds like a really, one of those guys, but I just think sometimes. I was watching a game yesterday, or highlights of it, and I don't know who hit the home run, but
Was it the Astros?
No, it wasn't the Astros. I don't know then, but the batter hit the home run, and the commentators were talking about some deal, and didn't even like realize he hit it until it was already soaring. And it's kind of like I just felt like you're not focused on the game, but I mean commentators have to talk about whatever to pass the time. So like I said, basketball and baseball are both probably, I'd say, tied. Basketball is just a little bit more exciting in terms of the fast pace, the breakaways, the nice shots, especially nowadays with Steph Curry, LeBron James. You got these high-end players that really put on a show. And baseball, don't take me wrong, you can really put on a show too. But I think just putting on a show in baseball, putting on a show in basketball, you're gonna have a little more excitement towards basketball, and that's why basketball barely beats baseball in my 3 and 4th.
I mean, I had fun yesterday during the opening day. Just watching a whole bunch of baseball games was just like the thrill of a lifetime that I need. And being, and you didn't play pitcher, I know, but I did. And I also played every other position. Playing, every other position gives me another angle on baseball, mostly because when a pitcher duel happens, I get hyped because I want to strike out the guy, so I throw a slider away from him, or hit him in close with the curveball or two-seam fastball. I mean, the possibilities are endless. There's a whole bunch of pitches that you can do, a whole bunch of different angles and different ways that you can make them swing and miss, and it's just so fun to see for me. And then also on the other side, when you're diving for balls on the defensive end, or hitting the ball, getting a home run, it's just so much more energy to me, and every pitch counts. But in golf, I wanted you to explain more on golf, but golf is just, that's boring to me.
I mean, I think if you were just to put on a golf game without going into who's playing, where are they playing, what kind of tournament they're in, I think it'd be boring. But I mean, if you realize it's a PGA tournament, and you have a favorite golfer, Tiger back in the day, when everyone wanted to see Tiger play because it was just doing stuff that he has a natural gift. I think that comes with a sense of awe. I think with golf, it's a huge sense of awe for me. I don't necessarily watch it for the fast pace and the bravado. I think it's these guys are taking a stick basically and hitting a white ball hundreds of yards and putting it on pristine accuracy. I think that's an awe thing for me when golf comes into the equation.
I will say this, the commentators, I just thought about this, they had that nice little, they're not out on the court, but they kind of be quiet. It's a quiet setting, and then you hit the ball, then you got the birds chirping and everything. It just makes you want to fall asleep.
And golf, like you said, I think for the younger generation watching golf isn't more so your dad sitting in his recliner with the beer in his hand in a tank top after his work day watching golf. I think golf nowadays for the younger generation is having a bunch of guys or girls over, having a couple drinks. You're probably sitting by the pool, or if not, you're sitting outside and you're watching the PGA on a TV outside. I think more so it's not for either just the love of the game or the awe of the game. I think it's bringing people together, and then you have the few individuals that decide to put on the PGA tournament or put on any golfing, and it's that kind of, if you really sit and watch and go, that is a crazy talent to have, is to be able to hit a ball with a stick with pristine accuracy. So I said, it's definitely not just to sit around and just watch intently. You have to have conversation. You have to have probably a little bit of liquor flowing. The guys that play. I remember going out with my dad, my uncle, and my grandfather, and driving the car around, and they had alcohol. They had alcohol in their koozies. They had alcohol in the bottles, and they weren't getting wakey wasted, but they were having a good time. And I think the more time, my uncle always said that the more he drank, the better he had, and the more he drank, the better he got. So I think it's just that it's.
So you think alcohol is like a steroid to him?
I just think it brings in that sense of this is not a game that we're expecting hits on and fights and nice plays. We're expecting class, and with that, you can't just be like, this isn't the 1800s anymore. People and gentlemen, I understand, but
Because that's all they had back then.
Right,
It was
that's
golf
what I'm saying.
and baseball.
But it was more of an elegant. It was an elegant. It was the class, the clapping and all of that. That's
The simple little
right.
princess clap.
And you see all these things nowadays. It's hyped and you invite friends over. Like I said, and the last time I watched a golf tournament, I was literally sitting in the pool with a drink in my hand, talking with some friends, watching it over the underhead. So I think for me, in terms of when I said that I'd rather watch an MLB game over a PGA tournament or a PGA tournament over an MLB game, I'm thinking more so of, like you said, the camaraderie, how you get into it. Just as much as people, bring people, especially during like the World Series, people come over and watch the games and all that. The same thing with the PGA tournament in my house. So that's why I said that the other day.
I still won't watch PGA tournament unless it's the Masters. It's just too slow, I can't even. But as we move on in the morning show, we got this stat of the day. Obviously, will be Max Scherzer. Last night had 7 strikeouts. Well, not to finish the game, but he had 7 strikeouts in 4 innings. He had 0 walks. He only had 1 home run. Just an amazing effort. He still got the loss. The Mets won that game. But as I was watching that game yesterday, I loved it. I loved that pitching performance by Max Scherzer. And on this day in history, Steven, you might have something to say about this. The Cleveland Browns choose their new name for themselves as the Baltimore Ravens in 1996. Did you have any feelings? I mean, I know you weren't a Cleveland Browns fan, but when you read about it and you saw it, did it move you?
I think it's just trivia. I always like hearing new trivia. So
yeah, I watched a 30 for 30, Believe Land or something was the name, and they talked about that, how Art Modell, moved the team, and how the Cleveland was, just hurt, and it was a heartbreaking story, and then they got a team, 2 years later. I wish that would happen to Seattle Supersonics, but it's a pretty heartwarming story. Always go check out the 30 for 30 on Believe Land. That's a pretty nice show. And the next big question, who has the best looking team so far through the first part of free agency in the NFL? Steven?
Best looking team? Oh, that's a tough one. If you were to ask me the best, or I guess the team I'm more anxious to see, I'd have to go with the Browns. I think the Browns. The former head coach said the other day is that the Browns are the best team in their division right now, in terms of just overall players, how they mend and how they wheel together to play a game is different. But right now on a stat sheet, the Browns have the best team. In terms of just overall in the NFL, someone could easily been like, the Patriots or this and that. I think overall though, I think, like I said, the best team, the team I'm more excited to see is the Cleveland Browns right now.
The Cleveland Browns, they need probably maybe one more defensive team, or not defensive team, defensive player behind Myles Garrett. I mean, there's not really that go-to guy on the defensive end when you don't have Myles Garrett. So I think obviously they need something there. They also need their young guys to grow, in Nick Chubb and Baker Mayfield. But I think Baker will definitely override Nick Chubb this year, and they'll put on a passing spree.
Mm-hmm.
But my team so far that has looked good in free agency is obviously going to be. It's not obvious, actually. I like what the Rams have done. They signed Blake Bortles, who's still a terrible quarterback, but at least he has playoff and winning mentality, and pass.
He's experienced.
Yeah, he's experienced, and that's behind Jared Goff, so you don't worry too much Then you also sign in Clay Matthews, who's a veteran, who's also won a Super Bowl to lead that defense behind Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh, Aqib Talib. I mean, it's just they just filled in holes, and I really think that's a great GM job. They didn't want to just blow up the team after putting up only 3 points in the Super Bowl, and it was just pretty good so far. You have any more, Steven?
Yeah, I mean, the Rams, I think, are a great contention this year to be the best team in the league. Like you said, they did bring in two guys that have experience, has experience leading a team. They also have experience with defeat, and I think with such a build like the Rams had last year, going into the season and then going to the Super Bowl, and then it's that utter crushingly kind of like we only scored 3 points in the Super Bowl, really.
It was terrible.
I think with that mentality, you bring in these two new veterans with the experience, and they have the ability now to spread in that locker room. What happens next? What happens after that game? What happens? Because now we're expecting the Rams to be the number one team this year, and statistically wise, when we have those, most of the time that team doesn't perform as well as they did last year. Besides the overall Patriots. I won't even get started with those yet. But the Rams, I think, bringing these two guys was a good move. Was definitely it shows they know what they're doing. It shows they know they're committed to their young guys. So I think we're gonna be excited to see the Rams.
So follow up to the first question, or to this question, who is your sleeper Super Bowl pick?
Sleeper Super Bowl pick. That's a tough one. I mean, I think honestly, if the Texans learn CPR, then when they choke at the end, they can revive themselves. But the Texans, I think, have a really good team. I think JJ's healthy. Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback when he doesn't choke. They have the best receiver in the land. They have to work on the running game a little bit, but I think they have a stacked defense that needs things here and there that they probably get from a draft. But if we're gonna talk sleeper pick, maybe Houston, maybe Dallas. I think both teams have potential as long as someone's there to give them a Heimlich.
My sleeper pick is obviously going to be. We're going to have to pick someone that's not, known worldwide to be the front runner, but I got the Jacksonville Jaguars, and mostly because they got Nick Foles and that old quarterbacks coach that Nick Foles played with and won the Super Bowl with. If they can light that fire under Nick Foles, under a new head coach and new team, they have a little bit of young talent. They proved that they can move on in the playoffs a few years ago. Then Blake Bortles just crapped the bed this year. But if Nick Foles plays like his Super Bowl season and the next season, I could see Jacksonville moving pretty far in the playoffs, and that's why I think the AFC South is probably going to be one of the best divisions next year, because all four teams have the possibility and a chance to make the playoffs or win the Super Bowl.
I agree. I think I said a lot of this offseason has brought into just what we want to see in terms of football in the future. And the Jaguars did bring in Nick Foles, and with Nick Foles as a veteran quarterback, and you've got an amazing talent like Leonard Fournette in the backfield, I think the Jaguars definitely have a good chance to show us that they're not just that stereotypical 0-14 team.
Yeah. But as we move on to the last and final question, which rookie quarterback last year will put on a show for us this year?
Oh, easy, 100% Baker. I think Baker has had a year to get better at just being an NFL quarterback, and now he's had a complete offseason to learn even better, to learn the mistakes he made. He's coming out with a new head coach. He's going to have all these new weapons. I think he's going to have an entire brand new mindset, because this is no longer a fight for him. This is the job. I think last year we were expecting him to come out behind Tyrod Taylor and just ball out. And I think now that he has a job, and it's the starting job, we're going to see a lot more captainism from him, and we're going to see a lot more responsibility and a lot more decisions when he makes with the ball. So I think best rookie quarterback that's going in this year is going to be, or I guess first year starter is going to be Baker Mayfield for sure.
I agree with you on that, but I'm gonna pick outside the box in Lamar Jackson because he's in that Baltimore Ravens system. He's a running quarterback. I mean that just shows like spectacular moments in the incoming, and he proved that he can play pretty well. He brought him to the playoffs. He was on Sports Center almost every day. It was just so fun to see, and I think he can continue on that. But there is still a questionability on if he will be able to do that. But in my mind, I have no doubt Lamar Jackson's going to be, pretty good. So, a follow up to that question: who do you think will be the worst of them all?
Oh, that's a tough one. How many are there?
Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Lamar Jackson.
Definitely not Lamar. I agree with you when you said Lamar. I think the Ravens are clearly putting the reins on Lamar, saying it's your team. I think that Josh Allen.
He's so good, but he just needs to.
It was a dud. I think he did great in college, collegiate level, and came here and just. I don't know.
He's
Rosen.
not what? Josh Allen's not that bad.
I don't know. Something about.
He's
Josh
got to
Allen
learn the
not.
system. He only played like 3 games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like everything about him, the way he plays. But
It's a quarterback.
I'd probably go Josh Allen. I'd go Josh Allen. I don't know. Something about the way he plays and how he performs just kind of gets me curious on how he's going to perform at a nationwide level.
He's kind of like a Peyton Manning almost. Just a sit pocket passer.
Well,
he has a little bit more mobility.
I think there's a little bit more, talent involved.
Okay. All right, Mr. Peyton Manning.
But Josh Allen, I think has a lot to learn still.
I got Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold did not impress me when he was at the New York Jets. He did not impress me on staying healthy. That man, I just don't. He has potential, but he has inconsistencies. And those inconsistencies will turn into a butt fumble. And we will have part 2. And I'll also be New York Jets. Sam Darnold is not the quarterback for the New York Jets for the future. They need to look for a different quarterback instantly. Probably Josh Rosen is next. And that's pretty much it. Steven, you want to add anything?
Not much. I mean, we said we were looking forward to this coming season. Big news this week is Rob Gronkowski retired. How long is that going to last? How long we're going to see? I think personally, if you're asking me, it's going to be another Jason Witten situation. I think he's going to give it a year and realize that he's really good at catching footballs. I am happy for him that he's going to now work on his family and be with his family and all that. But I think anybody from experience, I think anybody who plays the game that well is going to miss it. And the ability to go back and do it while you're still young and healthy, I think he's going to take that advantage just like Jason Witten did. Looking forward to the draft. 2 months.
2 months.
Or in
April.
In April, I'm in a month. Yeah, looking forward to that. I mean, we're going to see a lot of good things come out of the draft. Look forward to Kyler, obviously a big name. Top 5.
We're doing the top 5 today, and the topic is movies.
Top 5 movies
of all time.
Okay, let's do the top 5. Top 5 movies all time. That's a tough one. My number 1 spot, I'm gonna do a bundle because why not? I can do that. Lord of the Rings. Anything J.R.R. Tolkien is definitely top 1 of top 5. So I'm gonna go Lord of the Rings 1, 2, and 3. Not the Hobbits, even though they are J.R.R. Tolkien. I still love them, but I want to definitely do top 3. Number 2, it's a tough one. We've got 2 great series, Harry Potter and Star Wars for me. Big fan, big nerd fan, I know. I'm gonna go Harry Potter. Harry Potter is number 2. Star Wars is number 3. Number 4, There's so many good movies. You know, number 4. It's hard just to
Saving
kind of bring
Private
the 5. Definitely not.
What is wrong with you?
Saving Private Ryan is a great movie, but if you were to assume that's in my top 5, that'd be incorrect. Sir. No. Number 4. I think of a movie something that I can watch. I mean, I can just watch it over and over and over again. That isn't Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna go right now with a movie that I've really just been like, okay, I could watch that over and over again. I Am Legend. I Am Legend. This is one of those movies. Alternate ending, people. Alternate ending. I Am Legend original ending is garbage and a waste of film. I think no disrespect to Will Smith or any of the directing crew. I just think that was a very bad ending. So I Am Legend alternate ending would probably be number 4, just for the cast, the movie itself. And number 5, that is. Oh, there's so many good ones. If I had to think of one off the top of my head right now, I'd probably go in terms of just overall, like, you know, wow, this is universal, like, you know, like this is something that's never happened before, and we're doing it now to where we can make movies like this. Probably the Avengers series, Avengers 1, 2, 3, and Endgame coming out in a month. I think those just is the sheer kind of what we've been waiting for in terms of comic book lovers. The Avengers, I think, right now would be probably number 5. So we're gonna go Lord of the Rings movies, Harry Potter movies, Star Wars movies. I might take off I Am Legend if I think about something better. But right now, I Am Legend's gonna stay there, and then number 5 would be the Avengers.
Well, my top 5 starts out, obviously, number 1's going to be Harry Potter. Number 2, definitely Saving Private Ryan. I cried my little butt off at that movie. That movie was so sad. Nowadays, it's just like, I'm there for the action because I've watched it way too many times. Number 3, I hate Star Wars so much. And I know you hate me for it. And I know I don't like Lord of the Rings either. And you hate me for that as well. To see with that grin over there. They're definitely not in my top 5.
Hey, it's your top 5. You go ahead.
Number 3, shoot, I want to pick a sports movie. Oh, the Rocky franchise. Even though they're my outside blue for sports, I don't really pay attention to boxing. But those movies just hit me up, knocked me off my feet. It was just wonderful to watch. Steven's over there just having a ball listening to me saying this. Number 4, probably going to be the Avengers series. And probably number 5 will be Ghostbusters. The originals, not the new one.
The Ghostbusters 1 and 2, or just Ghostbusters?
Ghostbusters 1 and 2.
I did not know that about you. I did not know that Ghostbusters. Hey, those are your top 5, and top 5, those are yours.
You can't, I mean, Back to the Future's number 6. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, those 3.
Okay.
But you cannot say that Ghostbusters, when the first time you watched it, did not hit you hard.
No,
it was like,
negative.
What is wrong with you?
When I watched Ghostbusters the first time, and this might be a millennial or Y generation say this, I was like, what in the hell are we watching? Because this is old, it's not funny, and I'm a Bill Murray fan. Zombieland, hashtag Zombieland number 2 coming out this summer. Zombieland 2 is going to be off the chain. Zombieland 1 was funny. When I watched Ghostbusters for the first time, I was so unimpressed because my parents were laughing, my dad was having a ball. It's like when I watched Star Trek. When I watched Star Trek with my dad, it's like watching a kid. He looks 20 years younger. It's phenomenal. But I'm like, what is this? Because this is horrible. It's probably the same thing my children will feel when I put on Lord of the Rings, or when I put on Avengers, or when I put on Harry Potter. And they'll be like, Dad, what's this? And I'm like, Tony, go get your brother Steve and Bruce, and we'll come in here and we'll talk about it. Like, I mean, it's gonna be the same way.
It's gonna be a lot of movies to watch. All the Marvel.
It's gonna be the same way. So definitely not Ghostbusters. Your list is strong. I mean, I'd probably take out Saving Private Ryan just because I love any more movie as the other guy does. But I would put in Back to the Future before Saving Private Ryan. I think Back to the Future's or classics, and I think they'd be Saving Private Ryan.
Well, anyway, that does it for today. That's our top 5. I am Jacob Steiner. You can join me weekdays on the 4th and 11 show from Monday through Thursday, and then you can join me and Steven, the Wake and Bake show with Steven and Jake every Friday morning. So start your day with us. Any closing thoughts, Steven?
Hey, go out this weekend, have a blast, and stay safe, y'all.
And that will be it. Have fun this weekend, guys, and enjoy the sunshine as best as you can, and watch some sports.